After a couple of dominant races by Ryan Griffins to start the One-Up Nitro National Series season in 2023, he's going to have his work cut out for him today, will the rest of the field, as we take on our first road course of the season at Road Atlanta here in Brazelton, Georgia. It is a tight, technical, twisting circuit with many different right and left-hand corners that's going to test even the most skilled drivers here this afternoon. And alongside me to bring you all the action once again is Duke Ansack. This is going to be an interesting one because we've got a lot of road course talent at the front of the field, and we've got a few in the midfield as well that need to work their way up. It's going to be really hard to pass here, but if there's anyone who can do it, it's probably going to be these guys.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so far, we haven't seen a race in this Nitro National Series this year that hasn't been absolutely fantastic. And I don't expect that streak to come to an end today. You know, we have a road course situation here, so no cautions are going to be coming out in this race. And that is just fine. We're going to see a lot of great racing action. We've got a lot of great talent in this field. Some people that absolutely are going to be up front that are starting up front in this one. We've got Diego Yepes on the pole, Zachary DeLello right there, and then our resident road course ringer Alex Forget-Barube starting in 4th place. But you mentioned Ryan Griffin starting back in 20th, so this is going to be an interesting day for a lot of drivers for sure.
Absolutely, you've pretty much done my job for me at this point, as we can now give you the starting lineup for today's race. It is indeed Diego Yepes on pole for the first time in his Nitro National career. DeLello alongside Blair, Alex Forget-Barube, and Jack Boswell running at the top 5. But Ryan Griffin, he won the first 2 races of the season, but he himself admitted that streak would likely come to an end here at Road Atlanta. This is his least favorite racetrack, and he starts 20th. So it's going to be a challenge for the 92, but remember, he started worse when he won his 2 races prior.
I'll tell you what, you know, Ryan Griffin is pretty hard on himself about the road courses, especially here. But I'll say that is a fast car that he's driving, and you know, he's proven it in those first 2 races. So starting 20th, it's pretty far back, but he's got the whole race ahead of him to just keep it clean, keep his car from bouncing off of other cars, and I think that he'll be able to drive up through the field a little bit and get a solid finish and start this portion of the season where he's going to be trying to maintain that points lead, maintain his position, and just continue some strong finishes. And you know, who knows, after this race, we might have some surprises that we're looking at as well. So I'm pretty excited to get this thing underway, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
So with that being said, the cars are lined up on the grid. We are ready to bring you some racing action. 30 laps of it from Road Atlanta, the One-Up Nitro National Series race number 3 of the season, and it gets set right now. Getting set for the green flag at Road Atlanta. It's already out in the air. We're underway for 30 laps at Road Atlanta. DeLello gets the better start of the 2 on the front row as they dive it off into turn 1, heading towards the S's of this racetrack. DeLello's got a nose out ahead of Yepes, but they're going to be side by side through the S's. Someone's got to yield.
Yeah, definitely. This is tight side-by-side battle right here. The 04 and the 03 still side-by-side around this course. It's amazing. They're single file behind, and now Diego Yepes has taken the lead away and started to drive away a little bit in an incredible move. It was just a bad location for that 03 car, but now it's all sorted out. Diego Yepes keeps the lead. And we're looking at the back of the field. It looks like everybody has gotten through this first set of corners. But yeah, the 04 car out front to start this race.
That's what we were checking to see if anybody had trouble getting through the S's. But it looks like everybody made it through cleanly as we climb up the hill down the back straightaway here at Road Atlanta. Yepes starting to stretch his legs a little bit ahead of Zachary DeLello. And after the start to the season this 03 car's had, he'll definitely want to win this race, be the first of his career, but if he can't do that, he'll absolutely take a second to get some momentum going.
Yeah, for sure, and this is a really challenging road course, and it's pretty narrow, as you can see. You can't fit a lot of cars side by side around this place, but again, a challenging, bumpy, rough around the edges road course here at Road Atlanta, and it really is a lot of fun to watch. That's the first lap completed right there. For Diego Yepes, and you can see the pace difference from the first cars and the cars in the back, just that stack up in the corners. in the beginning of this race is really something you want to pay attention to. There are probably cars throughout this field with a little bit of damage on the front and the rear end. And that's just how it's going to be, in the corners. It's a physical race here at Road Atlanta.
And as they sweep through the S's, you mentioned cars possibly sustaining damage. Aerodynamics doesn't normally mean a lot at the road courses, but with a tight twisting S's like this and a long back straightaway, it might mean a little more here than, say, at a different road course that we might go to later in the season. But that's not going to matter that much to Diego Yepes. He's entered lap 1 with a 0.6 of a second lead, and he's only growing it as they head up the hill once again.
Yeah, this is such a long back straightaway right here. It actually, on the track map, it has 2 turns in this straightaway. This is one of them right here, but you're full throttle all the way around. And then you come down into this tight little chicane right here. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun to race at this track, and it's a lot of fun to watch cars go around here as well, and especially Diego Yepes. And I'll tell you what, I kind of expected him to pull away a little bit farther than he has so far, but he's not even a second ahead of the 03. So right now it's pretty tight. A lot of the time here in the Nitro National Series at a road course, we'll see one car that really is just dominating, and they'll drive away and really make a ton of time. But so far in this race, it's been pretty equal between the whole top of the group. The top 5 is only separated by about 3 seconds. The biggest gap between 4th and 5th, definitely right now.
We took a look for a moment at Blair in the 11. She's not one to be known for good road racing, but she's doing a good job in 3rd. And someone who is known for being good at road course racing, Alex Vershep-Rube, right behind her in 4th. He won this race last year, but he hasn't. I don't know if he's gotten the grip on this new car yet. He finished 2nd at Daytona, but it's been a bit of a struggle since. He's hanging out in 4th, which is a good run, but I have a feeling he could be doing a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. And 4th place is a solid run right now, and then especially is one of his new teammates in 6th place as well. So the team having a solid day, at least 2 of them right now in the top 6, and yeah, just a lot of learning to be done for all those drivers that aren't leading the way. And I'll tell you what, Diego Yepes probably learning a little bit about how that car handles in the clean air right now, but we'll see as they cross the line what the gap is. And it has come down a little bit, just a couple tenths, but that 03 is not letting the 04 out of his sights.
Yeah, it's a bit early to be calling a win here, but these two are going to put on a great show, I'm sure, for the remainder of this race. We're only on lap 4, but anything's still possible. We've said it before, and we'll gladly say it again. There's a lot that can happen on these road courses. Even if passing's a little bit difficult, when they do happen, it makes it all the more worthwhile to see. But as they head down towards the double right-hander at the bottom of the racetrack, we make our way through the field a little bit. DeLello running 2nd, doing a great job. Remember, he was their pole sitter for the Denver road course last year and almost won that race. So he's good at turning left and right, and he's showing it here today, just a few tenths off of Yepes.
Yeah, and something that you really can't discount. I mean, we're watching this race, and these drivers are absolute professionals, but there's always the possibility, especially in a tough track like this, for a mistake to be made. You go a little bit wide in one corner that impacts your next corner, especially through the S's. That's a really tough section of racetrack, and it's all about rhythm, and it's all about getting that first one right. So if you miss it a little bit, it'll compound and become a pretty big issue by the end of the S's, and that could account for a 2nd, 2-second, even 3, as far as the timing goes, which right now would allow for a little bit of a battle between the first 2. So it's just something to watch out for. There's a lot of times you have to go through all these tough sections of the track, and all these drivers are going to have to hit it perfect every time. And who knows, that probably wouldn't happen every single time. Somebody's going to make a mistake, slip up, and that's going to be when everybody has the opportunity to pounce.
Absolutely. All 41 of these drivers are here for a reason. They are the best in the business, but even they are not immune to a slight error from time to time. But Yepes continues to hold a steady lead out in the front. The lead grew a little bit last time. Alex Vershep-Rube holds the fastest lap of a 1:26.62. and he'll get a point for that if he can keep it. I wouldn't be sure if he can keep it, though, because there are a lot of fast cars in his wake trying to steal that point from him, including the likes of Jack Boswell, Logan Williams, and the rest. But you can see a bit of a gap forming between the top 5 and 6th place Williams, of about a second forming. These guys are getting strung out, and that for as much as they spread themselves out, that could reduce the risk of accidents right there.
Yeah, it definitely could. And you know, it also gives people some breathing room, a little bit of room to be comfortable with the chance of making a mistake, you know, especially right now. So the 04 has nearly increased that lead to a second across the line right there. It's 0.99 at the moment. But yeah, you know, a little mistake here and there isn't going to be too bad, but you don't want to let them add up. So that's going to be that's where that breathing room comes into play. But right now, Diego Yepes looking really good. I haven't seen this car slip up at all as much as we're talking about it. So yeah, looking really, really good right now.
He's had a rough start to the season, has Yepes. He's mired deep in the points, but a win here today would certainly give him a well-needed pick-me-up in the battle for the championship. And Dolello's had an even worse start than Yepes. So all these guys are just struggling to get a good, consistent start to the season, but you never know. It could happen here today, get their season started off right. And here's a guy who we expected a lot from this season, this 12 car of Henry Thomas. He moved down from the Superstar Series. He was expected to do really well. Hasn't quite materialized yet, but he's doing a good job in the top 10 right now for Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, 8th place is not all that bad, you know. That's where he started in this race, so he was able to maintain on the initial start of the race, and then yeah, just kind of riding along right now, waiting for an opportunity to go up there and get that 25 car and possibly some more. So yeah, hey, solid run today. Every good thing has got to start somewhere, and it's probably going to start right here, or at least give them some momentum, that team, into the next couple races.
Yeah, and a lot of guys need momentum going into this season, and Kasim Adnan, one of them, the Syrian native, had a bit of a rough start at Daytona. Had a DNF there, had a poor showing at Las Vegas, but he's running just outside the top 10 here in 11th today. It's not that bad for the Full Frontal Motorsports team. So Adnan is another noted road racer, as is Samad Ozkan, the rookie, directly ahead of Adnan. So the Swede looking to impress here in the Road Atlanta Nitro National round. He's currently in the 10th position. And, yeah, let's see if he can hold it for the remainder of this race. He's doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, both of those drivers, when I saw them on the lineup there after qualifying, you know, both of those drivers really stood out, and I was like, wow, that's a great start to the day for those drivers, starting in 10th and 11th, and they remain there, which has proven to be a good run so far.
And now we're focused on one of your cars, the one in 6th position, this being Logan Williams. Another driver who's had a bit of a slow start to the season. He's been hopping from team to team throughout his entire career. He started his career at Full Frontal Motorsports. That didn't quite work out. He went to Muddy Dash Racing for a year. That was a little bit better, but still nothing really came out of it. He came over just with you guys, and he's doing what he always wants to do. Run up front and consistently contend for top finishing positions. And right now, he's doing that just outside the top 5.
Yeah, 6th place is really, really good. I mean, you know, nobody has really had a great start to the season in the Team Duke camp. But, you know, 6th place is nothing to be ashamed of at all. And right now, this 88 car looking really good out there, and just maintaining in that 6th place. That's, of course, the same spot as he qualified in. So I'll tell you what, happy with that. And we'll see. Maybe he could go up there and he could get that 38 car of Jack Boswell, and then maybe he could follow his teammate Alex Verjeparub, who has kind of been leading the way as far as the road course charge and back at the shop, you know, helping everybody learn the ropes a little bit. He's running 4th right now. So, yeah, really great run from Logan Williams right now, and hopefully it just gets even better.
Yeah, he's following Jack Boswell, who's probably the biggest surprise in the top 10, although he probably shouldn't be. He's had some great runs in the Truck Series last year, but this is his first full-time national campaign. He's had a bit of interesting start to the year. He's got some good finishes, but he's got a really good one under him here today. He's currently running 5th, just ahead of Logan Williams. So Boswell could be a surprise for the remainder of this season as well if the finishes keep going his way. But at the front of the field, it continues to be DeLello and right behind Yepes, and now Jack Boswell and DeLello have both gone faster than Alex Vergeperube, so now it's Boswell with the fastest lap bonus point in his pocket. And with the pace fall off here today, he might even be able to keep it.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, these tires are taking a beating here at this track. But something that I'm noticing here is the 04 and the 03 have remained about 1 second apart from each other, but they're both pulling away from the 11 and the 3 and the 38 and all those behind. So these two are starting to separate themselves a little bit from the field, and I'm just curious if maybe Zach DeLello has something in the bank, you know, something just kind of holding up, waiting, just seeing if he could save that charge to a little bit later in the race, to a point where the 04 wouldn't have anything for him. We'll see what happens in this one, but the two of those cars right now are starting to separate themselves from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Yepes doing a fantastic job. Remember, he got his first Superstar Series win on an oval, but he is most known for running well on these road courses. He finished 2nd at Portland last year, did fantastic there, and he's proving that he's got this talent still. And this is, remember, that was the car, that 04 car won the championship last year with Patrick Smith driving, and their only victory of 2022 was on a road course. So this shouldn't be as big a surprise to see this 04 car running up front as consistently as it is.
No, that car is definitely no stranger to being out front at a road course, especially a tough one like this. So yeah, you know, and this 03 car doing a great job to keep up. I mean, you know, it's this while it seems like, you know, the 04 has led every lap so far, and it seems like it's been a pretty dominating performance, I wouldn't be so sure to say that it's been without any pressure at all. Zachary DeLello has been within a second for this entire race so far of the lead. So it's close, and I think that the 03 will have something to say before this race is over.
It's just a matter of, can he close the gap in time? We're coming to 20 laps to go here at Road Atlanta. That's a lot of time here. But you just never know when it comes to this style of racing. You gotta capitalize on every opportunity. If you look back a little bit further back in the top 10, Nicky Martinez having a solid run after a bit of a disappointing day at Las Vegas. She's currently running in the 7th position in that very fluorescent 25 car. But she's doing a good job holding off Henry Thomas behind her. Got Logan Williams in her sights. This is a good run for this 25. And honestly, Kings Motorsports as a whole had a bit of a slow start to 2023 compared to last year. But they're still one of the best in the business. And with Martinez in the top 10, Michaels and Daly just outside the top 10, and Zachary Bilson learning the tips of the trade, this is good. I expect them to rebound soon.
Yeah, definitely, and with a car that looks like that, I mean, how can you miss it? That's an amazing paint scheme on that 25 car. So, yeah, hey, solid run right now, sitting in 7th place, and yeah, nothing to complain about right there. So we'll see if this battle up front closes at all. Once they get to the start finish line, we'll see what the gap is, but they continue to pull away from 3rd place. So, you know, the longer this goes on, the more and more it's starting to look like the race is going to come down between this 04 car and the 03 car that follows for the win.
Yeah, they're distancing themselves from Blair, from Alex, from Boswell, and they're turning this into a two-man show, which we'd love to see more cars in contention, but at the same time, this is a fantastic showing for both of them. And DeLello's keeping that gap fairly steady at a second. He's got to start making little inroads into that gap, though, because, well, I don't think they're going to catch any lap traffic by the end of this race unless something catastrophic happens, and so that means DeLello's not going to have that much help in catching this 04. He's going to have to do it for the most part on his own with the speed in that Toyota Supra. But he's doing a good job keeping the deficit at only about a second, so not a bad showing from this 03, especially considering the start of the year he's had.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, and you know, there's a little bit of time to be gained on this track. I see. I mean, you know, I'm watching their lines around all these corners, and you know, it looks like, I mean, some of these, if we can watch right here coming in through these next couple of corners. Of course, they're in the long straightaway now, but you know, as they go through the corners, there's a little bit of curb to be used. There's a little bit more track that could be used. And, you know, if DeLello starts to use up more track and kind of perfect those lines, get it all down, he could start making some gains on that 04 car just with a line adjustment. So we'll see what happens here. And, you know, of course, the handling could start to go away on the 04 car or on the 03 car. But, you know, that was about a 10th gain on that lap from the 03. So we'll see. We'll watch this car, both of them, through this section. This is kind of the tougher section. You saw the 03 was closer to that yellow line right there. Starting to gain a lot of time here. A little bit.
Yeah, I think that was in part. I think that was in part because the 04 went wide in turn 1 a little bit. That could be a contributing factor as well. And that could kill your momentum through the S's, but he's doing a good job recovering from that. But you're right, DeLello's gained a good amount of time, and he's not that far off the 04. So if he can keep pressuring Yepes into mistakes like that, who's to say he can't get a run and make a push towards the end of this race?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible, and we talked about it earlier, but the mistakes, you know, there's always the chance of a mistake in this race, and we saw the 04 make a small one. He had the breathing room to be able to compensate. It was just going wide, nothing big, but those add up over time, so we'll see what happens. And along with that, the 11 has started to catch up to these guys a little bit, close that gap. It was over 3 seconds just a couple laps ago, so we'll see what the gap is at the line now and see if the 03 has gained. I think that actually since the 04 slipped wide, he's gained that time and then some back, but we'll see once they cross the line.
And the gap at the line, yeah, it's pretty much the same as it was at the line, so doing a good job at keeping the position, but
Blair is catching up.
Yeah, and I was going to mention, we have a lot of manufacturer parity. We have one of each in the top 4 right now.
Yeah.
So a Dodge leading a Toyota up at the front, then a Ford in 3rd, and a Chevy in 4th. So fantastic parity at the front of the field, which we want to see in this series. It's always good. But this is so far so good for this 04 group. But DeLello is starting to close in, and don't count out those guys behind either.
For sure. I just saw that DeLello exited the last corner a little bit lower than that 04 car, and it allowed just to cut that track a little bit more, a little bit closer, make the track overall slightly shorter, and that has been helping this 03 car. So we'll see if that continues, what this 03 car can do additionally to start to chop some of the time off. And then, of course, the 11 is coming pretty quick behind. So I don't know what will happen once if the 11 catches these two. But that could definitely change the dynamic of this whole event, because DeLello will move into defense mode instead of offense mode. And, hey, that's going to be very fascinating to see. I'm excited to watch what happens. And DeLello has chopped it down to only half a second now, and the 11 is down to less than 2 seconds behind. So this is starting to feel a little bit like a turning point in this race on lap 15, just halfway through.
What a lap put together by DeLello. He chopped off 0.4 of a second from Diego Yepes' lead, and he's just doing it methodically, doing a solid job of working his way through this racetrack. He's not really. I think this is going to be one of those race the racetrack type races, and hope for mistakes from your competition. And this might be an attrition battle as well because of that, because there's not going to be a lot of close quarters on track combat, but at the same time you focus on clicking off lap time after lap time, And that's how you're going to win this race, is consistent times on the board. So DeLello doing a good job, but he's already losing a bit more time to the 04 here.
Yeah, you know, and this is just, we're kind of getting more and more cars sort of involved, sort of a little bit bigger in DeLello's mirror here. So hopefully that doesn't change his charge towards this leader that we have. But I don't know, you know, I mean, it's looking like it maybe has stabled out a little bit, but DeLello's just, it's more in that technical section that, you know, through turns 1, 2, 3, 4, and then through the S's, that's kind of where DeLello has been gaining more time. But then through the straightaway, and then that last kind of section that's a little bit faster, less technical on the back half of the track, that's where the 04 has been better. So, well, hey, we'll see what happens. We still got plenty of time left in this race, and looking at the back, it looks like nobody has been really having any problems so far in this one. So, yeah, it's this is a fascinating one. I'll tell you that.
Maybe they made it so that the 03 of DeLello is more trimmed out for the corners, more downforce on that car, compared to the 04 that's more streamlined for the straightaways. So it's almost like an open wheel race in that regard, where they trim out their cars for certain parts of the racetrack to be better than their competition. So I think that's what's going on here. Yepes really good down the back straightaway especially, but DeLello is keeping pace in the S's, and that might make a difference, because those S's are where where the mistakes are most likely to happen, as they make the hard braking into the chicane right here.
Yeah, and you know, there's also the difference of the front end of the cars. You know, on the straightaways, it's all aerodynamic, so possibly the front end of the Dodge Dart is helping in comparison to the front end of the Toyota Supra. When you look at it, you'd think the Supra would probably be a little bit faster down the straightaway, but who knows what else they have going on there. So it's very, very interesting battle that we have here, and we'll see if DeLello is able to take advantage of this slower section of the track and possibly make some time up. It looked like the 04 might have gone a little wide. Hard to tell. It wasn't all that bad through that section. We'll see.
Oh, it definitely ran wide for the first flick of the S's, but it looks like he recovered nicely. So DeLello's got his work cut out for him here. He's back to a second behind the 04, and we're now fully into the second half of this race, and time's running out. There may be a lot of time left in this race, but it's getting shorter every time. So DeLello's got his work cut out for him, not only to keep the 04 in his sights, but also to keep the 11 behind him.
Yeah, the 11's charge is kind of stopped at about 2 seconds behind the leader, 1 second behind the 03 car, and everybody else behind is just maintained. We'll see if that continues to change. I'm not totally sure what'll happen, but hey, DeLello, I mean, it's still keeping up. This is not, I mean, like I've been mentioning, you know, we have seen in the past with some of these road course races, one car just absolutely drive away with it, and we have not seen that so far today. And this is this the biggest lead that the 04 has had so far?
I believe it is.
Very interesting.
We often see on road courses one car go out and lead the majority of the laps, if not all of them, and this is certainly the case with Diego Yepes. But I would not say this has been a dominant. Well, I would say this has been a dominating race, but not in the way we've been accustomed to seeing. So Yepes has definitely been the best car, but I think DeLello has got something to challenge with. He just needs to encourage the 04 into a mistake somewhere and capitalize on it at the right time. As we're going a little bit through the field here because the action up at the front's kind of settled down. Jack Boswell's actually got a pretty big lead, about 3.5 seconds over 6th place Logan Williams. Boswell's the highest running Jeff Bolton racing car in this race, and the second highest Ford after Blair in the 11. So Boswell having a strong run. Williams also solid, and we're just looking back through the rest of the field now. Adnan still 11th. Keon Daly, like we mentioned with the Kings Motorsports guys, he's doing his part in 12th place right now. He's just a little ways behind Adnan. Shantley Daniel, another Jeff Bolton racing car, in 13th. pretty good on the short tracks. I wouldn't say he's a good road driver, but that could change. Jonathan Lawson, after 2 top 10s to start the season, currently in the top 15 for Vento Motorsport. Joshua Michaels doing a solid job. Cody Goforth, not quite the speed of his teammate DeLello, but he's doing a steady job in 16th position for him. Chrissy Spletzer in 17th. And here's a car we haven't talked about yet. It's Diego Yepes' new teammate, Yami Suzuki, in the 24. This is a brand new entry for Monster Motorsports. The first time they fielded 2 cars in this series. And so far, the rookies holding their own in 18th place right now.
Yeah, great looking race car right there, and great looking drive for Suzuki. And 18th place, you know, leader of the race is the teammate, but definitely a lot to learn, and a brand new team as well.
And here's Ryan Griffin. He's back in 21st, and he said to expect this. He is not a big fan of road course racing, and this is, well, I mean, he was due for some bad luck eventually, right? He won the first 2 races of the season in commanding fashion, but it doesn't look like he'll go 3 for 3 unless something crazy happens in the last 12 laps of this race. He's currently almost 20 seconds off the lead in 21st place, right ahead of Elijah Ironhouse in the 8 car, the pole sitter at Las Vegas. Robert Weaver in 23rd, dominant driver at Daytona. Zachary Bilson 24th, and Glenn Mixon. These are cars that you normally expect to see at the front, but with the strength of the field here in the Nitro National Series, it's harder for these guys to get solid runs out of this.
Yeah, you're right about that. You know, and it's all about starting position, or at least it has been today. And here's Alexa Lucian in 27th place. You know, I mean, this 50 car is a car that we typically expect to be up front, much like a lot of these drivers. So here's the 31 and 28th, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to see a lot of these drivers so far towards the back.
Yeah, here's Ali Liara fighting Andre Anzac for 29th. Logan Jones in 31st, the highest of the D4 cars. After a strong start to their season, they might have fizzled out here at Road Atlanta just a little bit. Todd Hemler, the last of the Jeff Bolton cars, in 32nd place. Kean Rivers, Rashi Mahendra, we expected to have a good day, not materializing for him. He's in 34th. Tyler Pompey, 35th. Bruin Kingley, after a tough day at the office at Vegas, he's 36th. Ed Kaminsky's in 37th. Ryan Arnold, 38th. Nathan Meyer, Kenneth Grant, and Ryan Soper's actually been into the pits in this race. He must have had a little bit of a problem on that 84 car. Maybe it was maybe he ran over some gravel or something, punctured a tire. He's now 55 seconds off the lead. However, he's got 20 lap fresher tires than everybody else. He can make a push for fastest lap and maybe even catch the back of the field at this rate.
Yeah, I guess we'll see if that happens and how that progresses throughout this race. He definitely won't be caught by the leaders, so that won't impact our race at the front. So that is fine. Meanwhile, Diego Yepes remains our leader, and has extended that lead slightly more since the last time we checked in. I don't know. I would like to see somebody new in second place, possibly that 11 car, and just to see how that would impact possibly our battle for the win. I think the 03 definitely is quick, but I'm not sure is going to be able to catch that 04 car, so maybe a change back there is what this race needs. Not sure if it'll happen, though. Diego Yepes is putting up a pretty amazing pace right now, and he's starting to drive away from everybody.
What I'm hoping for is a little bit of lap traffic to get in Diego's way to try and hold him up a little bit, allow DeLello, Blair, and Alex to maybe close up a little bit, make it a little more interesting battle. You often get this at road course racing. Not that good of an on-track product, but the strategy involved, the planning of lap times. It's all very fascinating to talk about and watch before our eyes, as DeLello gained 0.4 of a second on that last lap alone.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by that. It didn't look like it was such a great lap, but the 03 has gained 0.4 over the course of it, so we'll see. Maybe he figured something out on that lap. He's going to maybe try it again here and see what happens, but yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see if the 03 is able to continue that type of time gain through through the rest of this race. Time is ticking though. It's ticking away. Run it out here, Road Atlanta. It's not looking it's not looking great as far as how much time is left. If this 03 has any chance, we'll see what happens.
There's only 8.5 laps to go now, and for DeLello, this is just an opportunity to close. He's been trying so hard for that first career win, and he's there's no doubt in my mind he'll get one sooner rather than later. He's too good a driver and too good of a car not to get that first career win at some point, but he's got to catch Yepes to get there. And honestly, the entire top three, and 5 of the top 6, as a matter of fact, with the exception being Alex Verstappen, are all looking for their first career wins in this series. So a lot of steep competition, even from guys who've never won before.
That's true, you know, and these guys are all going to be fighting for it. So the 03 has lost a little bit of time there, but it's not as bad as it was. I mean, this whole race, this 03 car has been hovering around a second behind Diego Yepes, and that's just, so far we haven't seen any signs that it's going to really change. I mean, we saw a bit of a charge kind of through the middle of the race right there around lap 15, but since then, really, this 03 hasn't had a ton to say about the pace that the 04 is putting up. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the 03 right now, I'm going to need to see a little bit more speed, a little bit better lines out of that 03 car to have a lot of faith.
The question is, though, with the pace Diego Yepes is setting, does that include greater tire fall off on that 04, and maybe DeLello saving a little bit of his tires to make a run at the end? We've got 7.5 laps to go now, and DeLello is keeping within that critical 1 second margin, and he's doing a nice job keeping contact with Yepes. He doesn't have to worry about anyone behind him. He hasn't had to worry about that for the whole race, and they're starting to get closer together in the chicane, and they start to spread out a little more coming out of it. This is going to be interesting to watch in the final 7 laps. See if DeLello can get there.
Yep, it's just the flow of the race at this point here. We'll see what the time is. 0.94, really, it was about 0.05 of a gain there, so it's nominal. Yeah, I don't know about this 03 car, but I'll tell you what. I mean, sitting there in second place, running second for the whole race, that is a good day. You know, as much as you'd like to go up there and really fight side by side for the win, and as much as you would have liked to get the lead on that first lap, you know, that would have been great. However, you're sitting there in second place, if that is the finishing position ultimately for the 03 car. That's a great day. And it's something to definitely be proud of looking at the next road course in the next couple of races anyway.
Yeah, now we're looking at Ryan Soper. He's gained 3 seconds on the leaders since we last checked in on him. Now he's gained another second on the leaders in that time. He's only 51 off the lead now, and he's got the fastest car on track right now and clean air. So if that 84 can close up on the likes of Kenneth Grant, Nathan Meyer, maybe try and gain a few positions, he might be able to salvage something more than just 2 points for finishing 41st. But time will tell. It's a long way from the end. I'm sure we'll find out sooner rather than later in that. But here's DeLello. He's got a second to make up on Yepes. We're coming to 6 laps to go this time. We'll see what the margin is at the start-finish line. He cut it down a good chunk there.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So we'll see if this could be another fast lap for that 03 car. We could see by the end of it, the 03 right on the bumper of Diego Yepes. We'll see if DeLello can do it. Not sure. It's just going to be all about what line do you run, how well do you get through the corners, how much can you roll it right there. That was good. The 03 was a lot lower than the 04. That has probably hurt Diego Yepes' whole section right there through the S's, and look how close the 03 car is now to Diego Yepes. We'll see how they get down through turns 6 and 7 here. Looks like it's going to stay about the same.
And here's the part of the track where Yepes is stronger. The long back straightaway that you can take all these corners here flat out. Yepes just trying to stretch his gap. He can afford to make a few mistakes in the S's and make it back up on the backstretch. But he's got to keep an eye on that 03 car because he's been gaining a lot, and we're coming to 5 laps to go this time. And the top 5 have pretty much made this a race of their own because 6th place Logan Williams is 7 seconds off the lead. So at this point, barring any calamity, it's going to be a 5-car battle here.
Yeah, I mean, what could happen, you know, to allow this 03 to get a shot at this win? Of course, the time has not changed there, which is a positive. You know, you're not losing any time. It's not as good as gaining time, but you haven't lost any, so you haven't lost any of your progress. That's good for Zachary DeLello in 2nd place. And we'll see, you know, what are the opportunities? Where are the passing zones in this track? They're questions that you haven't really asked up to this point because you haven't been quite close enough to really start to think about it. So Zachary DeLello, got to start thinking about that kind of thing. Where are you going to make the pass if you have the chance? Are you going to use your bumper? What's going to happen? Look how close they are.
Yeah,
I mean, we're getting down to it here.
At this point, you have to use the bumper to make a move here. But the question is, the thing is, you can't give Yepes an opportunity to use his bumper back. So if you're gonna use the bumper to make a pass for the win, you're probably gonna have to do it into the final chicane and then just run away. That's probably gonna be your best bet in stealing a win from this dominant 04 car. But yeah, these two are starting to pull away once again. Coming to 4 laps to go, I think it's going to come down to if Yepes can stay consistent and whether DeLello gets aggressive near the end.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that Yepes has been making slightly more driving errors that have cost him some lap time in this race than DeLello, and I think that has been the difference. And of course, I mean, as you watch it, it has been hundredths that have been lost and gained. And like that lap, it was about 3/10. So the 03 car has lost some time on that lap, but that is the difference. If Yepes is hitting his marks, if he's getting the right line through the corner, if he's carrying enough speed, those are the difference makers so far in this race. And you know, with all this talk, you know, about where do you make the move, when do you make the move, it's always so tough for me. My thought process on that is just you want to try to make that move as soon as you can because you never know if you're going to get another opportunity to make that move. And I hope that Zachary DeLello hasn't fallen into that trap of thinking I should wait until the final lap or the second half of the final lap to make that move, because if you wait and you wait and you wait, it's good because if you do make the move, there isn't any time for the person who's now in 2nd place to make another move back on you. However, if you don't get the opportunity to make the move again, then you're still in 2nd place. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out, and we'll see which theory works out at the end of this one. But right now, I'm just hoping that if DeLello gets the opportunity to make the move, take it. Absolutely.
He was much deeper into the braking zone than Yepes was. That might have compromised his entry into the chicane a little bit, but that was a lot of gain going into the left-hander. So DeLello doing a good job staying out ahead. And at this point in time, with 3 laps to go, margin's 9/10 of a second, he's going to have to gain 3/10 a lap to catch.
Yeah, it's going to, I mean, really going to have to start being aggressive right here for the 03 car. You know, just going to have to push that car harder than you have all day. Of course, the tires are hot now. They're worn out. And your car is lighter, less fuel than it had at the beginning of this race. But you've also got plenty of gap, about just less than 2 seconds to the 11 car. So if you do screw up a corner because you're pushing so hard, it's not that big a deal. You're going to keep 2nd place here unless you drive off the track. But if you're driving off the track, then you've got bigger problems than just losing 1 spot. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this 03, I mean, Zachary DeLello's got to drive the heck out of that thing for the last couple of laps to have a chance against the 04 car.
Yeah, and he's making marginal gains up the backstretch, but again, this is where Yepes is faster. So, I don't know. It's going to be a daunting task for DeLello, but if there's anyone who can do it, I have faith in this 03 car to be the one to do it, because he's been so close to winning races. He knows how close he's been to winning races. And he's gaining a lot of time on this 04 car through the second half of the lap. We're coming to 2 laps to go now. DeLello could be making a late race charge here.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, the time is just running out here, you know. That's all it is. Oh, look, 0.56 now. So that's more time gained for the 03 on track to gain enough to be there at the end. I mean, look how close they are. You can see it on the track, how much time this 03 car has gained on the 04. They're so close to each other now. I'm just not sure how. I mean, Zachary DeLello, again, is going to have to think about when do you make the move? But you have to also be there. This is just this is sort of an intense battle now.
Yeah, this is similar to the Decatur race last year when we had 3 cars in the battle for the win. And one of them was this 04 car who ended up coming out on top. Back then it was driven by Patrick Smith. So Yepes is no stranger to having his cars in the mix for in a late race battle on a road course. But at this point in time, we're coming to the white flag this time. Down the back straightaway they go, and DeLello just has got to go full beans from here on out. He's got to try and make something happen, like right here into the braking zone. He's got to go really deep while keeping the car under him, and he's gaining a little bit of time. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to capitalize, though. We're coming to the white flag.
Loses all that time he gains on entry on exit, so I don't know, but look, it's pretty close right here with the white flag waving through the air. It's only a half second, and this thing is definitely not over yet. Zachary DeLello has something to say about who will win this race, but Diego Yepes has led every single lap up until this point. We'll see who gets it.
And at this point, could you even deny Yepes this win without it being controversial? Because he's dominated this race. He's, like you said, he's led all 29 laps so far. Did he make a mistake? Could DeLello capitalize here? Coming out of the S's for the final time. DeLello still a little ways behind Yepes. This could be the moment right here.
Wow, that was, so the 04 went a little bit wide. We've seen that all day out of this car, going a little bit wide through that corner. It's been losing him time. Oh, but he had a great corner through there. That was turn 6, and now we're in turn 7. And a couple of corners that were really, really good for the 04 car may have eliminated the 03 from contention. We'll see what happens. But the 03 is farther behind than I think anybody wanted him to be right there, except for the driver of the 04. We'll see what happens coming down the second half of the back straightaway.
Into the final braking zone they go. Yepes ahead of DeLello. DeLello's too far back to make a move. So coming out of the chicane for the final time, Diego Yepes, it took him a while to get his first Superstar win. Didn't take him any time at all to pick up his first win in the Nitro National Series. Diego Yepes takes the checkered flag at Road Atlanta. First career win in the Nitro National cars for him. Zachary DeLello, 0.8 of a second behind. He put up a valiant effort, but after the start of the season he's had, a second place should do wonders for his season now. Blair in the 11 gets a solid road course result for her in third place. Alex Vigette-Perube comes home fourth, and just in the nick of time, because I'm seeing some smoke back there. I think Alex just lost the motor on that thing coming to the checkers.
Great. Well, hey, I mean, yeah, that is a great timing for the motor to blow after the race. Yeah, we'll see. What drama.
Yeah, and Ryan Soper comes up 4 seconds short of catching the back of the field. He didn't get the fastest lap either. So there's your update on that situation. Behind Alex, though, Jack Boswell gets his first career top 5 in 5th, and of Logan Williams in 6th position. A fantastic job for him. Nicky Martinez 7th, Thomas, Freeman, and Ozkin round out the top 10 here at Road Atlanta. We're looking for Alex Vigette-Perube in this 3 car. It's a big. He's fallen off pace dramatically on this cooldown lap. I'm likely right in the fact that something mechanical has slowed this 3 car down right at the very end. But,
well, you know, it'd be a change of pace to have a big mechanical problem like that.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is. Yeah, that definitely doesn't look very good.
At least the smoke's gone.
Yeah, that's true. There's a teammate maybe could hitch a ride, probably not. But yeah, you know, a lot of the time in this series we'll see somebody be coming to the checkered flag, and they'll have a mechanical issue. We've seen that multiple times. In fact, it happened in a truck race for this very team. So it's a relief that it happened after the checkered flag, and you get a top 5 finish out of it anyway. So Boy, what a race, though. What a race it was between the 04 and the 03, especially there at the end. Man, DeLello put up a great fight against Diego Yepes, but it just wasn't enough at the end. Diego Yepes is too strong to give it up. So it's, yeah, great day from Diego Yepes and from Zachary DeLello as well to finish 1-2. Hey, great day all around, and congratulations to the 04 team.
And not a moment too soon for either of them. They were struggling in the points. This is exactly what they needed to get back on track. The next road course race for these drivers is at the end of April at Sequoia, but the next race for these guys is coming up in a few weeks at Iowa Speedway. First time the national cars have been there. Going to be a lot of fun, beating and banging on one of the fastest short tracks in the country. It's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure, for everybody involved. And as Alex Vergiperu limps his way back to the pits, we can sign off from Road Atlanta. This has been a fantastic race, even if the action was a bit tempered at the finish. So, from Duke Ansack and from myself as well, we say goodbye from Road Atlanta. Big congratulations to Diego Yepes, and commiserations to Zachary DeLello. He'll get his one day, who knows, it might come as soon as our next trip at Iowa Speedway.